Lucy Stone did not look like a formidable woman. Even her friends said she was short, Quakerly looking. Of course, they also said that she was as unshrinking and self-possessed as a loaded cannon. Where her world told women to be silent and submissive, Lucy Stone was outspoken and transgressive. She had found her voice, and she used it, as she said, to plead the cause of the suffering and the outcast. And oh, what a voice she had. Not loud, not thundering, but searching, musical. Even though she never shouted, the music of that voice just seemed to carry out until it completely filled up every space she ever spoke in. And when she spoke, even the angry men and women who showed up to shout down the freedom speeches, to shout down the women's rights speeches, even they often fell silent and listened. Sunday, August 27, 1848, was the fourth and final day of a great anti-slavery rally in the town of Harwich, Massachusetts. For 3 days, hundreds of people had gathered in this bright glade of grass and trees. They sat on the plank benches. They sang, "My country, 'tis of thee, stronghold of slavery, of thee I sing." They cheered speeches by Stephen S. Foster and by William Wells Brown and by Lucy Stone. One man even brought out his own cushioned rocking chair so that his old mother could take part in comfort. Oh, it was a grand time. But on this fourth morning, when the organizers and the speakers arrived, they discovered that during the night, someone had attacked their stage. Someone had scattered the planks of the benches. Someone had even broken that rocking chair and tossed the pieces into the trees. They looked at each other. They sighed. And then they smiled and set right to work, repairing their stage, reassembling the benches. They even brought out a new cushioned rocking chair. And when they finished, hundreds of people gathered to sit and sing and cheer just as they had for the last 3 days. Except that on this day, another crowd gathered behind the abolitionists. And this was a crowd all of men. Men with scowling faces. Men with their pockets weighed down by rough-hewn wooden clubs. These men just stood there, glaring at the stage, talking. A sound like distant thunder heard on a clear summer's day. And all day the speeches and the singing continued. And all day more and more of those men gathered. 100 of them, 200 of them. That distant thunder, ever louder, ever closer. One by one, the speakers slipped off the stage into the crowd. By 5 o'clock, only Stephen S. Foster and Lucy Stone were left standing on the stage. And Stephen Foster introduced the last resolution of the day, that this nation has a religion which is a lie and a sham for as long as it remains comfortable and accepts slavery. And with that, those men at the back gave a great shout. They drew their clubs. They pushed forward into the crowd, even trampling over some of them coming the stage. Lucy Stone called out, "Stephen, you'd better run. They are coming for us." "But Lucy, if I run, who will protect you?" And just as he said that, one of the leaders of the mob, this huge man, body shaking, eyes wide and wild, face red with anger, club in his right hand, this man jumped up onto the stage right next to them. Lucy Stone turned to face him. "Why, Stephen, you don't need to be afraid. This man will protect me." "You will protect me, won't you, sir?" The man had just begun to step forward, had just begun to raise up that club, but now he stopped, staring down at this tiny woman, could not have weighed more than 100 pounds, who is just standing right there in front of him, looking him in the face and smiling. The man looked confused. And then that wild red rage just seemed to drain right out of him. He shook himself. He looked down at his feet. "Well, ma'am, I guess. Ma'am, I need to protect you. I will." And Lucy Stone just smiled brighter, gave him her arm, and he took it with his left hand and helped her down from the stage and started walking her through the riot with his club raised up to keep them safe. And as they walked, Lucy Stone talked to him, and he leaned down and listened until they came to this big tree stump. They stopped and very carefully helped her up onto that stump and stood there, holding that club up to keep her safe. And Lucy Stone spoke to the mob. All around her, men were fighting with fists and with clubs. Angry men shouted racist insults at William Wells Brown while they knocked him to the ground. Angry men pulled Stephen S. Foster's new coat right off his back and tore it to pieces right in front of him. And Lucy Stone spoke to them. That music of her voice going out through the shouts, over the screams. We have no idea what exactly she said. We do know that as she spoke to them, the fighting slowed down. The fighting stopped. Peace spreading out from the center that was Lucy Stone on the stump all the way to the edges of the grass and the tree. Fighting men stepped back. They looked at each other. They saw the pain and the bruises and the fear, and they dropped their clubs while Lucy Stone spoke. Men helped William Wells Brown to stand up, dusted him off. Men actually took up a collection and right then and there raised $20 to buy Stephen S. Foster a new coat. And Lucy Stone spoke, and they listened, and when she finished, they apologized and went home. On this one day, at least, leaving all their anger and all their weapons lying forgotten on the grass behind them. Lucy Stone did not look like a formidable woman.